G'day Facebook, Cameron here again from Human Electrical and Design with another episode of Ask a Sparky. So this is a segment that I've been running for a few days. Now we're going to run it for 14 days where I'm giving you guys out there in Facebook the opportunity to ask me, a qualified electrician, any questions at all that you want in regards to the electrical industry. So we've had lots of questions ranging from home automation and plenty of others, so keep them coming. That's my first request I'm going to ask of the audience today, is if you can please ask more questions. Okay, I want to have heaps of questions that I can choose through to bring you guys some knowledge and some details that you're after, so it's worth watching. So today we're going to be talking about LED lights versus halogens. Okay, so back in the day, I'm sure everyone's familiar with your halogen downlights. They were the go-to up until the last 5-6 odd years, when LED technology and more importantly price has come down to a even playing field with halogens. So let's just have a quick look at the halogens, and then we're going to show you a couple of examples of different LED versions of lights that we can substitute them for these days. So your halogen downlights, okay, they were a 50 watt globe. They later went to about a 35 watt globe with some halogen technical advances with an IRC globe. But we're just going to talk, to keep our maths nice and simple, we're going to be talking about the 50 watt globes. So typically you would have a room and you'd have, let's call it a bedroom, and we'd be putting in about 4 downlights into your room, okay? So 50 watts per globe. We're going to be looking at 200 watts of power that we're going to be using to light up a typical size bedroom. Okay, so that probably doesn't mean a great deal, but we'll compare it with LEDs soon so you can see where the savings are. So with your halogen downlights, okay, so like I said, 50 watts. Now, when we're drawing that wattage, we're going to be converting basically the energy into 2 forms. Okay, one of them is going to be the light, so the light output, and with your halogens, there was a lot of energy being used through heat. Okay, they ran really hot, the globes. So what we used to have to do to meet regulations was we have to make sure we weren't near any of your timbers inside the roof, and we had to get your pink bats and cut a nice big 300mm by 300mm square out of them so that these lights could breathe and they weren't going to be a fire risk. So we're using quite a bit of power in the globes, we're converting a lot to heat, and we're also cutting out a lot of insulation. So when you've got your heater on or your air conditioner on, you're going to be letting a lot of that energy that you're producing inside the house to keep it warm or cool is going straight up into the roof space. So that's your halogens, okay? And now what we're looking at these days are your LED downlights, okay? So this is a typical one that we use, okay? So this is your direct replacement for your halogen downlights, but instead of 50 watts, these ones are 7 watts, okay? So we're talking about a fraction of the power consumption of your old halogen downlights. So that's one good feature. So in that room where you were going to be drawing 200 watts, we're now only drawing 28 watts. So almost half of one globe. So it's like an eighth of the power we're drawing simply by changing over to these LED downlights. Okay, now these are fantastic lights. They're not like they used to be when LEDs first came out, where you weren't getting a heap of light output. These give you more light now than what a halogen globe would do, and on a much better angle. So the light's coming out on an angle like this, whereas your halogens used to go about 60 degrees. These are almost 120 degree light output, so they really wash a room well. And one of the best features that's come out in recent years is on the back here, we have a toggle switch, and we can select our color output. Now I'm not talking about red, green and blue disco lights. I'm talking about warm white. So warm white is a color that best replicates the halogen lights. Really nice light to have in bedrooms and lounge rooms. You can flick it to cool white. Okay, so cool white will give you more light output and that more whiter, crisper, sterile sort of light. So fantastic for offices, kitchens, things like we need that task lighting. And then you've got another one in here, daylight. So that gives you a more natural representation of natural daylight. I personally think it's a little bit blue, but can be fantastic for areas where you need to have light that mimics outside. So, excuse me, great for if you're doing makeup, so over a vanity or something like that, where you want to be doing makeup, you're going to look the same inside as well as outside. So I've been told. So that's one option. That's your downlights. They're fantastic. If you've only got a just your normal batten holder in the middle of the room, you can change them to these. I'm sure everyone's seen those. You pick these up for a few bucks at any of your shops. You can spend a lot more for better quality ones, but they're great. They're LEDs. This particular model, this is from IKEA, and this one is, what have we got here? This is a 4-watt globe. So you're talking 4 watts as opposed to your old 60 or 75 watt batten holder in the middle of the room. And let's say you do have downlights, but you don't want to go down the road of getting an electrician out to change them all. You want to go for a bit of a cheaper option. There are these, okay, so these are your old halogen, your 5.3mm bipins. So that's your replacement, that's your LED replacement. Now these ones don't quite put out the same amount of light as your halogen, but they're only 3.5 watts, okay? That's this particular one, you can get 7 watts, 10 watts to replace them with. So they're a good, much cheaper option. However, they don't last as long, okay? So you're not going to get the 20,000 hours or whatever they say you can get with these ones. These aren't quite going to get that because you've still got the old transformer, the old, the driver, the transformer that ran your old halogens. They're still trying to run these. So great option if you've got a tighter budget. So use those. So that's that. LEDs versus halogens. 100%. You use a lot of lighting, and to be able to reduce the cost of running all of your lights by changing over to LED is 100%, without a question, much better, because you're using about an eighth to a quarter to the eighth of the power, depending on what globes you go for. So that's it today. Thanks for watching, and please, I'm going to ask you again if you can please share with all your friends. Like the page. I'd love to hear comments and more questions. Please feed me more questions so I can answer what you need to know. Thanks a lot, guys. I hope you had a good win on the Melbourne Cup today, and I'll see you again tomorrow. See ya.